Hola Gems, it's Cherry here at God's Gems. I hope you guys all had a good week. Today it's really pretty outside. It's nice and sunny. The weather is perfect. I want to come on and speak to you guys on my first Department of Labor mandatory meeting. I had mentioned it to you guys, I believe, in the last video. And so it was Monday morning, and I woke up a little bit stinky, aggravated that I had to even like go do this because I know there are people who have told me that they never had to do that. So I was pretty annoyed, like, why do I have to go? So I went, changed my mood, prayed, changed my mood, fixed my face, all that. And there was a line. So right away I got annoyed because there's a line, but waited like 10 to 15 minutes, but even that, I brought a book to read to keep my mind off of that, and just allow the process to happen. And so after I think maybe 10 minutes, they let us upstairs, and everyone had to state why they were there, because at the Department of Labor, of course, I mean, I thought everybody was there like me, the first mandatory meeting, but that's not the case. Everybody goes for their own reasons, some people were saying uh, access to the computer room or something like that. They were just, I can't remember now that I speak to you guys, but I know some people were going to separate places, like to a room where there were computers, to talk to a station agent at a booth. And so when he asked me, I told him, I'm here for my first physical mandate meeting. And so he said, okay, fine. I had to fill that out in the form or whatever. I think I still like waited on the side with like everybody else online. I think it was 10 to 15 minutes more when they called my name, and they told me I had to go downstairs. Yeah, go downstairs. And so I was like, ugh. So I went downstairs. I met with the lady who was handling my file, my case, and she was pretty pleasant. Um, Not only that, but everybody in there were really nice. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but everybody working there, the first floor that I went to, were really nice and professional. The atmosphere was great. People on the line were pretty cool. I mean, it's morning, so some people had like grumpy faces, or were just like maybe nervous or had anxiety with the process, with whatever they had to be there for. But overall, that experience was pretty good. Like, I was impressed, and there was no ratchetness, no rudeness, none of that. And when I met with my person to sit down my one-on-one, she basically explained everything, the process for unemployment, the benefits, a weekly, uh, like certain things that I had to like maintain, like 3 activities per week, which is looking for a job, like learning a new skill set. I think she said. Uh, what the other one was, but they basically, she said, they just want you to do something at least 3 times a week. They need to see that you do an activity 3 times a week, right? um, to know that you are looking for a job or doing something to excel in your skills and or professionalism. So she mentioned Coursera, which I believe I have a Coursera account as I was speaking to her, because I know I have I couldn't remember when I was speaking to her. I think it was edX or something like that. I don't remember, but I've taken online courses for free, and there's Coursera, I believe I did, and the other one was edX. I remember. So I told her that the last one I know I did was edX, and I know the name of Coursera from years ago, Coursera, which is pretty good because you can take free classes on either one of them, and you only have to pay if you want a certificate from them. It's like $50, I think. I think I did I ever do a certificate? I don't know. I'm gonna say maybe once I did. I paid $50 for a certificate, but they're pretty cool because I personally love to learn, and if you guys need any skill sets, those two platforms are pretty good. So we spoke about that. Then we spoke about how many years I was working, my concerns about my resume. I told her I did this resume like years ago, having tweaked it. I have to update it. And so she said, that's fine. Just send her whatever I have now so she can have it in my file or whatever, because they need a copy of your resume there. And then when I update my resume, I can send that to her also. And so, of course, she also shared how they have um, job postings at unemployment, which is pretty cool, because I did tell her that a couple of weeks ago I saw the link and I opened it. And for me, it was like, I came from jewelry. Like, does unemployment of New York really have access to, like, you know, jewelry companies and things like that, right? And so playing around, I typed in jewelry, and when I entered it, pop, all these high-end jewelry stores popped up, and I was pretty impressed, right? Um, the only thing with me is that, I have to tweak my resume, and like, some of these, a lot of companies now, they want, proficiency in computers, right? And so I was sharing with her, was this is that, like, Microsoft Suite. When I first saw Microsoft Suite on, like, job applications, I freaked out because I didn't know what Microsoft Suite was. So I had a panic attack and I freaked out because, like I said, at my job, I was at, like, so many years, but we had our own software program, right? So a lot of jewelry companies, they have their own software program. So at my job and throughout the jewelry industry, everyone has their own software program, okay? Different modules, right? We all had Excel, Microsoft Word, um, and all those other things, but we never really used it that much. It was only inter-office stuff that we would use it amongst each other, and it wasn't that lot because we all used the software program for the jewelry company, right? We kept the inventory, reports, stuff like that. So when I saw Microsoft Suite, I freaked out. I was like, "What is this? I don't know what this is," because I wasn't familiar with it, so I got scared and I just, like, freaked out. But like she said, and many other people said, here in New York, they have a lot of programs for free that will teach you that software program, which is fine. So that's something I need to look into. But I know if I were to go back into a jewelry company, more or less they would have their own software programs, because that's just how it is across the board. A lot of them just have their own software program. There's so many different software programs for jewelry and diamond industry uh, that I knew I would most likely be working out of if I went back to jewelry diamond industry. But it doesn't hurt for me to learn or tweak my skills when it comes to Microsoft. And so that was that. And I don't know. Then we talked about age. I mean, I mentioned ageism because of my age, stuff like that. And so because there is a real thing with that. And how do I incorporate getting a new job at my age with, like I said, all these new skills that are required. And so but I didn't stress it too much. I was just a little bit, like, mad about it, but I wasn't letting my mind get all depressed about it. What else? And she said there were a lot of resources on Department of Labor for people, like Coursera. I actually went on the email she sent me for the month of May. So it's a calendar of the month of May, and they had every day slotted with different activities and different times, which was, I was like, I was pretty taken aback. I was like, is this everything I have to do? But no, you basically pick what you want to do. And I found some really cool ones that I was impressed with. And, like, one of them was a Zoom class to how to cope losing your job. What was the other one? Let me get my phone. Hold on. I don't know where my phone is. Where's my phone? No. All right. I don't know where I put my phone. But basically, everything was different classes, different things, activities that I could do to keep my brain, active, keep learning, resources and stuff like that. And I don't know, maybe next video, when I find my phone, I could break it down to you guys a little bit more. But that was basically it. And then while I was there, I asked her if I was able to apply for health insurance because at my job, I canceled the health insurance years ago because it was so expensive. And so the last couple of years, I wasn't even on health insurance. I was paying out of pocket, you know? And that worked out for me. It may not be for everybody, but thank God, all is well. Nothing happened to me. And I was able to take care of myself in that aspect, you know? What else? So she told me that uh, oh, let me tell you. So when I mentioned to her about some people that did not have to go to unemployment, she told me that that is actually true because it's kind of like a lottery. She said, but she says, I have kind of like the upper hand in a way because I am. She's sitting down with me, speaking to me about what I need to do, what like pertaining to benefits, right, and what activities they need. Where as some people who don't have a sit down or connection with a person don't have all the I guess I don't know the logistics how to handle their benefits or unemployment, right? And so she said sometimes some people they just get so used to just checking in every week just to get their money or whatever, they forget, I guess, to like know that they have to be actively doing something every week. So I guess she was saying that I guess through emails they should know initially activities that they have to be doing, but maybe some people forget because they don't have a face to face for the first time, and they just get used to this norm of just calling, checking in, and that's it, right? So she said for me, it's a good thing that I needed to come out because she's breaking everything down to me. And then she said the next appointment with her would be in 4 weeks, virtual, and then the next one would be another 4 weeks virtual also. So she said essentially like so for anybody if you're unemployed or you know anyone that one day says I got unemployed, but this is New York basically. She said the process is that the minute you get laid off or fired, you apply for unemployment, fill everything out, and they start emailing you all this information. And then I think for me, after 2 weeks, after I filled everything out, let's say 3 weeks was when I first got my first benefit. And then I got the email for the first benefit. And then I think 2, 3 days later, I got the email for the mandatory physical appointment, right? That was that here in New York. So she said basically it's a first mandatory meeting, right? Physical. Then the next one is in 4 weeks virtual, and then another 4 weeks virtual. And then after that, that's it. You just basically call in, check your information, check in with them with the phone and all that stuff, and that's it. And so she said with the people that sometimes with the people that don't um, um, do the activities or that don't have somebody sitting down with them, sometimes those people, not all of them, but some of those people forget to do the activities during the week. And it's pretty I don't know, like kind of slippery in a sense where she says what happens at the end of the year when you're done with unemployment, right? Sometimes they'll check on you to see if you're doing those 3 activities per week. And if those people were not doing the 3 activities per week, whatever it is that you had to do, some people sometimes it's been known for the Department of Labor to refund all that money through the whole 6 months they were getting um, the benefits. So the benefits is every week. So God forbid, well, no, there are cases she said where here in New York, like I said, every week they're giving you money, right? At the end of those 6 months, I don't know what the extension. Some people told me it's like you can get an extension for a year. It depends. It's a case by case situation. But if at the end of the year, Department of Labor wakes up and wants to check on fulano or fulana to see if they're doing the activities for the last 6 months, if they're not happy that they did not do those activities, they have been known to ask for that money back, and that sucks, especially if you still haven't gotten a job yet. You know what I mean? So that was something interesting to learn about. And I told her I was real honest. I said, look, right now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. I don't know which part of the industry I want to get into. So I'm just trying to assess, trying to come down from what's happening, um, and figure out my next move. I did today send her email her my resume, so that was done today. Got that out of the way, and then I'll sit down with someone, I don't know, in a couple of weeks to help tweak my resume and guide me how to do it, because now they say you have to create the resume for the job you want. And since I'm still not sure what kind of job I want, I need to figure out how I'm going to play with my resume and have somebody help me with that. Um, and then I asked her about other benefits like food stamps and health insurance, like I said before, right? Um, so I went back upstairs, spoke to somebody about that. I waited for the lady who's gonna help me with the food stamps, whatever. I just want to try and see if I get something. You never know. You pay all these taxes for these things, so I just want to figure it out. And I said, look, if they don't give it to me, they don't give it to me. It's fine. You know, I know that God's still going to provide for me. You know, and things like that. So I waited a little bit too long for me because it was getting my appointment was at 8:30, and so I think when I finally looked at the time after I had my first sit down with the lady, I looked up and the time was going to be 12 o'clock and I had to be somewhere. So I got up and I told the lady, I told the person, oh, wait, let me rewind. Let me rewind. So when I was in the waiting room waiting for the lady to see if I qualified for food stamps, there was a lady in the corner of the waiting area, right? She had a little table. So then she shouted out, do anybody here have health insurance? Anybody have health insurance, right? And so I said, no, you know. So she came, she asked me to come up and, you know, see if I wanted to apply. I was a little apprehensive at first. I was like, is this a scam? You know, I can get a little bit skeptical sometimes. But then I said, no, chica, like, you need to have ID to come in here. It's a whole process here. So, whatever. So then I sat down with her. She was from, I believe, Infinity. And she asked me all questions about what happened with the job and, you know, all my private information. And we were chit chatting and stuff like that. She's been doing this a couple of years, and at this location at that. So she got like a great site to get to sign people up for health insurance. You know, really smart of her. And I qualified and said, I said, wow, okay, so what do I qualify for? And she said, so right now you're gonna get Medicaid, and then after the Medicaid, it turned in the month of June. It turns into Affinity. I think she said Affinity by Molina something, because I think she said Affinity was bought by Molina. I don't know, something like that. But it turns into Affinity slash that company in June, right? So I was actually excited because one of the things my friends told me that, well, now that I'm not working and you don't have health insurance anyway, maybe you can apply for Cobra, which here in New York is whenever someone gets fired, laid off, and they can't get the health insurance from the job, people automatically sign up for Cobra. So I mentioned that to her, and she said, it's actually good that you didn't get it, because this is what she said, you know, don't come after me, but that it's not as expensive as my job health insurance, but it's still a little pricey. And when she told me the amount, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't have paid for that a month either. So no. So she said it worked out that I'm going to get Medicaid, right? And then it turns into Affinity. But and then I said, well, what's my copay? How much do I have to pay a month, or the fee? She says nothing, zero. So I was so excited. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I still have two main doctors that I'm going to keep. That even if they don't take this health insurance, Affinity, that I'm keeping no matter what, which is my lady doctor and my my optometrist. Like, I've had them like for years, and I'm not leaving them, and I pay them out of pocket, and I don't care. I'm happy with them. So basically, I would probably just use this for a primary doctor, just to get a full physical. You know what I mean? Not that I haven't got blood work done before, because I have done blood work before. And what else happened at the Department of Labor, Chica? What else happened? I got that. Okay, and then after that was done, that's when after maybe, I think maybe half an hour, I got up and I went to the front and I said, listen, you know, I don't mean, um, um, I need to get out of here by a certain time. And the lady that's supposed to help me with the food stamps, they haven't called my name. I can come back and make an appointment. I just need to know more or less what the time frame is for her to see me. If it's not within the next 10 minutes, then I'm going to leave, but I'll make an appointment. So they said, okay, hold on a second, let's find out. And honey, within like 6 to 8 minutes, if that, some lady showed up from the back, and she was talking to the girl about something, and the lady remembered me, and um, I heard her telling what I said, and that's when she said, you know, who, and she pointed at me, and she said my name or whatever. I think she said my name, not sure, but I already knew. Um, and I just went over there and I told her what I said to the other guy. And so she goes, no, no, you're next, let's go. So she took me to the back to her office, broke everything down to me, had a great conversation also. And basically, she said, no, you don't qualify for food stamps. So I was like, all right, it's okay. I just figured, I try and see if I got something, but it's good. I left it with peace. I'm okay. Another nice lady. So my experience at Department of Labor was great. Everybody was great, professional, interesting. I learned a lot of new things, and it was a great experience. I mean, not a great experience because of how I got there. But other than that, it was a memory and it was good. Nothing bad happened. It was not a negative experience, and I learned a lot. And that was it. And so then after that, I went over to my parents' house, hung out with my family, um, which is pretty cool on a Monday early. Normally, if I get to visit my parents, it's like has to be on the weekends when I worked, and it was like maybe once every 2 months, if that, or once a month, if that. It was more once every 2 months, but I would speak to them um, maybe once a week or every 2 weeks, something like that. Um, what else? And that's it. And so this whole week I've just been relaxing, still, navigating and doing certain things in the house, and slowly but surely, doing the professional things that I wanted to do, and taking learning new things that I want to do. I want to keep abreast on the gold industry, jewelry industry. I want to keep abreast on I'm watching on YouTube, you know, talks on the government, politics. What else? Uh, um, what else? Those are basically the things that I've been watching and stuff like that. Oh, relationships. Yes, relationships. That's my thing, right? So, because one of the things I know that I'm called to do is with life coaching is talk about singles and single moms and relationships and things like that. And so those are the things I'm keeping myself educated on, how people are navigating through relationships and um, wellness, videos and things like that. So that's all this girl has been doing this week. I was lounging a couple of days, but with the lounging, it was a mixture of lounging and working out. I was still working out. I'm redoing an old caloric deficit that I had done a while back. So I found that my menu for my caloric deficit, so it can help me lose the weight that I need to lose, so I can lose the weight that I need to lose with menopause, weight, and all that stuff. But that's about it. I've been pretty good. Maybe one day I woke up a little bit like, with this impression of sadness, but I figured out what it was and I snapped myself out of it. But that's basically it. My week. Uh, what is it gonna be? April 31st is gonna make a month that I was laid off, right? So I've been staying local. I am gonna make a trip soon to the city. Not in a rush to get on the train, but I know I personally want to get up and out of there and go to certain places that I want to hit in Manhattan during the week that I wasn't able to because of my job. And I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, the train the weekends are a mess. Makes nobody want to go into the city and hang out or do anything. And so I want to do some research on areas that maybe I would like to go work, locations where I want to work at again. I want to hit the thrift stores, bring my old clothes and trade them in or sell them if I can. And that's my goal, to do that maybe next week or in 2 weeks. We'll see. But that's about it. I hope you guys are well. And the one word that God kept resonating in me was Emmanuel, and Emmanuel means God is with us, and that was something that He was pursuing me with the last 2 weeks, because I know that He saw, of course, the spiritual attack that was coming my way with negativity and whatever emotions that may rise up with you when you don't have a job and you're not doing the things you're used to doing. And so I felt it really strong the last 2 weeks that were come up, Emmanuel, and all of a sudden I would hear a lesson on that from a minister or somebody. I'm watching a YouTube video about something else, a Christian video, and it would just lead to word Emmanuel or a song. And so I know that in this season, God is telling me and reminding me every day, I am with you. And it's keeping me strong and firm and not letting me freak out and keep my cool. Okay? So for you guys, know that God is with you also with whatever you're going through, whatever down you're going through. He's there with you in the valley. And just remember that, claim that, decree that over yourself that God is with you, and your disposition will change and you will shift the atmosphere not only in your house, your life, your soul, but everything around you. Okay? And believe for prosperity and abundance, and have faith. Okay, guys? So that's it for now. It's getting hot here right now. I'm starting to sweat. I think you can see me glistening. I already have oily combination skin, but yeah, it's getting a little bit hot. So that's about it. You guys are in my prayers, and hope you guys have a fabulous weekend. Do something fun. I have a baby shower that I'm gonna go to. I'm excited about that. So that's gonna be fun. And God bless you all. God loves you, and be safe out there.